Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, ArcVis Africa. My name is Dixon from AAA Studio. Thank you for joining me on the final part of our series using D5 render to create this image. Let's dive right into it. In our previous tutorials, we had a look, in the first part, we had a look at how to import this model from Revit into D5 render. Then we took a look at how to add materials by going to assets and basically being able to add materials like wood, materials like the stone, like tiles into our model. Then we also had a look at how to add HDRI. If you missed the first tutorials, I will leave a link below that you can have a look at them. So we added an HDRI, we rotated HDRI to kind of get what this scene, this look that we are trying to get. But we will do a little bit of post render right now to get this effect that we have here. So we also looked at how to import model from SketchUp Warehouse. So this model, this furniture was from SketchUp Warehouse. The furniture also in the dining and the living area furniture were all from SketchUp Warehouse, which is very simple. By going to the list tab here, you can basically see import. If you click on the import and you click on the plus sign here, it allows you to basically choose if you've downloaded a model from SketchUp and you've saved it somewhere, you can basically add it to your scene. So that is how we added our lights. That is how we added our furniture in the living room into our D5 render. And also you can see here, these are the type of files that you can add. You can add an FBX, D5 render file, SketchUp file as well, which means that if you are working in 3ds Max, you can either export as a D5 file, or you can also export as a FBX and bring it in. So if you are someone who use 3ds Max and you've created a lot of library like myself, you are not at a loss. You're actually at a gain, because you can really begin to add different objects into your scene. Okay, so today what we're going to do is basically add a little bit of post render in D5 render. So we've gone back to our shot, and let's make sure that we have our 2-point perspective checked, because if you don't have it and you have only the perspective, you see that your lines are not 90 degrees. So if we go to check and we go to 2-point perspective, you see we get our lines very straight, okay, which is very important. That's what you want to get. So what we're going to do today is that we will go, let's go back to the filter. So if you go to the filter basically is your post render. It allows you to adjust your exposure, your contrast, your highlight. So that's what we're going to do today. You can click on auto exposure, and then basically D5 begin to almost add its own automatic exposure for you, but that's not what we want. So we're going to switch that off, and then we're going to adjust the exposure. So let's set this back to 0. Okay, so our exposure is at 0, and then we're going to just input 0.01. So I'm using these figures because that is what this image, that is what I used. But you can play around with the exposures that you want to create. Okay. And then we go to our highlights. Okay. Then our shadow. It doesn't mean that you have to do the same thing, but let's also kind of see what this means. So if you increase the shadow, it darkens the shadow, and that's not what you want. So you want shadows that kind of look real. Shadows are not that dark. So we go, let's say, around 0.3. That is fine. And then the slope also basically either kind of lighten the scene or kind of darkens the scene. I don't really touch it that much. 0.7 is quite fine. Okay. And then the next thing we will do is that we will go to more. There's more settings in terms of our post render. So when we go to more, this is something that I really like, to be able to add some LUTs to a preset to your scene, which is really good. So if you go there and you switch it on, you can begin to see that it's really changing the look of our scene. Okay, but we're going to change that to day and night. Okay, so immediately that we change that to day and night, you can see that we are really getting the image that we're using as our sample or as our reference. Okay, so let's reduce that a little bit in terms of our LUTs. So that's the intensity. You can reduce it. You see, you can reduce the intensity of the LUT that you've brought in. We can reduce it to like 0.85. Okay, we just reduce it a little bit, and then we're going to also reduce our saturation a little bit, to about negative 0.3, about there. Okay, you begin to see that we are getting exactly the image that we have as our reference. Okay, so let's adjust a little bit the lights that we have. We can see that our lights kind of is quite high, so we're going to reduce our light a little bit in there. Let's go back to our camera view. Oh, we did not update. Ooh, wow. It's actually good that this happens, so that we learn to make sure that once you make any changes, you update. And what do I mean? So let's go back to the settings again. Let's change our exposure to 0.01. Let's change our contrast to 0.22. Our highlight to 0.25. Our shadow to 0.29. Slope, we left it like that. Then let's switch on the LUTs, and then go to night and day. Okay, and then we change the intensity to 0.85. Again, these figures is up to you, and it's up to what you are trying to achieve. Okay, so once you've done this, if you're happy with this, you go to the list. You can either update this scene to capture this information, or you can add a new one. So I would like to add a new one so that I have the first one as a base, and I can add different LUTs and different settings to the first one and save it again. So now you can see I can go back to the first. It takes me to the first one, or I can go back to the new one. Okay, which is very important. I think this is very important to have this option to be able to do this is very important. Okay, So let's see our materials, if there's anything that we need to kind of change. Let's see our stone there, it's a little bit dark. Let's see our wood. I think our wood is fine. Our wood is fine as well. Okay, let's try and see if we can change the material here. I'm trying to basically get that material. So let's go to assets, and then we need to look for wood. So it was wood. Let's see if I can find the exact wood that I use. Let's see. I think one of the functions that we're hoping that in the next kind of release of D5 they'll bring it back is the search button. The search, for the materials. I think in the first release 1.5 or 1.3, they did have a search button, and I think that it would be great to have it back, because I'm trying to look for a specific wood that was used. I'm struggling to find it. It would be nice to be able to search it. Okay, let's download that one. It was wood start layer. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's fine. If you're not able to find it, it's not a big deal. In the next tutorial that we will have a look at how to create custom materials, how to create some PBR materials as well, which is quite detailed. So we'll have a look at that. And also, if you have any questions, leave it in the comments section, and I will answer your questions that you have, if you have any questions. And if there's any specific tutorial that you want me to create as well, you are welcome to share in the comment section any tutorial that you would want me to create, whether it's an interior, exterior rendering that you want me to create. Also, we can have a look at how to bring in your model from 3ds Max. I think a lot of people use 3ds Max, which is also very important. So we'll be able to also look at that. So basically, this is our tutorial. This is the end of our tutorial. Yes, we were not able to create this scene 100% as it was because of the vegetation, but I hope that this tutorial really helped you. I see this material here is the same as this one. Let's just put it there. So I just copied that. I was just looking at that now. Okay, so I just copied and paste that there. Okay, again, 2-point perspective is checked. Check 2-point perspective. Okay, so we have our our image. And so what we just need to do now is basically to render. Okay, so how do we do that? All that we need to do is go to the render button here, click there, and then you can choose either a photo, panorama, or a video. So we need to just render an image. So you click on photo, and then we've got an option to choose whether it's 2K, 4K, or 6K. So we are just going to render a 4K image. So you click on 4K. And at the moment, we don't need any of these channels. So the channels are like your reflection, your ambient inclusion, but we just need the image. We are not going to do any post render in Photoshop, so we don't need that. So we're just going to uncheck that. We click on the spot, and then we have our we have to choose a folder where we want to save it. So let's go tutorials. Let's just say 2, or yeah, doesn't matter. Let's give it a name, final render. Okay, selected our folder, and we just say save. Okay, so it's 47. Let's see how long it will take to render this image. I am not speeding the tutorial. I just wanted us to see how long it will take to render this image in 4K. And also definitely if you have higher graphics card, a higher kind of spec of a laptop, it will definitely also play a role. I am using a GTX RTX 2070, I think. Let me just see quickly. So definitely a higher graphics card, a higher memory, will definitely play a role. But this is not bad. I think this will probably take about 5 minutes to render. And my graphics card is NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070. That's the graphics card that I'm using. Basically 5 minutes. Took 5 minutes. If I click on open folder, it opens the folder where I saved it, and I double click, and that is my image. Thank you very much once again for joining me on having a look at how to use D5 Render to create this image. And feel free to leave your comments, questions below, and look forward to our next tutorial. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you, and bye. See you next time.